Hey everyone, Cordelia26 here, bringing you a new video. This time we're going to be going over our Pokemon Champions League Draft Season 3. This is more than just a video about Season 3 though. I kind of just wanted to revamp a rules video. For those of you that might be new to Draft, either whether you're joining us as a new participant or if you just want to learn about Draft, you know, before maybe you go do it in another league or something, I think this video can really help you kind of understand exactly how it works, what is expected of you, and those kind of things. And then some of our rules, we'll go over our tier list. I'll show you exactly how you're going to be drafting on draft day, stuff like that. I think it's just a really important video to kind of show everyone and make sure everyone's on the same page with how this is going to work when Season 3 begins. So I just want to start with what is very general. What is Pokemon Draft? So Draft is a super popular competitive format. It's becoming a lot bigger. A lot of little leagues are popping up everywhere. It seems like a lot of them pop up and then kind of dissolve. People don't really, whether it's a leadership problem or just being able to hold people's attention to it. But here we've actually been doing really well, and we're going to be starting our third season. We have a whole bunch of new mods and a lot of interest in what we're doing, so I think that's really exciting, and I think Season 3 is going to prove to be ginormous. So how it works is 16 players in each league. We have 2 leagues. Are going to take turns drafting in like a ladder or like a snake, I guess, a snake format, where it goes 1 through 16, and then 16 to 1, and then 1 to 16, and just kind of snakes like that as we make our picks. So you're drafting a Pokemon team. And what you're going to be taking for us at PCL, you get 1 Tier 1 Pokemon, 1 Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, a Tier 4, a Tier 5, a Mega Pokemon, a Z Crystal, and then you get 4 other free picks. So these free picks have confused people in the past. So basically how it works is with those free picks, you have 400 points to spend. And when you draft a Pokemon for your free point, it decreases your 400 points by however much that Pokemon costs. A Tier 1 Pokemon costs 180 points. So you can't take like multiple Tier 1 Pokemons in your free spot. Obviously, they cost a lot more. You have to budget it differently. Tier 2 costs 120. We did increase that Season 2. It was 100 beforehand, and we found that people could just take all Tier 2s, and that was a little too much. So we increased it to 120. Tier 3 is sitting at 80 points. Tier 4 costs 60, and Tier 5s cost 20. So there is a way to increase your overall points that you get, and that is by drafting a lower tier Mega. So a Tier 1 Mega gives you 0 points. When you draft that Mega, it's a really strong Mega, and it's really good, but you're going to get 0 points, extra points for that. You just get your 400. If you draft a Tier 2 Pokemon, though, you get plus 40 points. So you have 40 extra points to be able to spend on things. That'll move you up from a Tier 3 to a Tier 2 Pokemon. If you pick a Tier 3 Mega, you get plus 60 points. So again, that can really move things around. That takes you from a Tier 2 up to getting another Tier 1. And then a Tier 4, if you pick one of those 3 Megas, you get 80 points. 80 points. That's a lot. Those Megas aren't considered very good. We'll show them in a second. But if you take one, I mean, you're planning on trying to use it maybe in a really creative way, and you're using it so that instead of really relying on your Mega, you're going to be picking more higher tier things in the regular draft for your free points. So that's kind of how that works. And with that, I kind of wanted to go over our tiers. So I created this nice little visual. A lot of people have really enjoyed it, actually. I'm glad it caught on. I'm more of a visual person myself. We do have like a list of all the tiers on the draft sheet, so you can see the list of all the Pokemon, but I'm very visual. I like to see exactly what's in them. So this just kind of shows you what is in each tier. So here's Tier 1. Again, I put the points at the top. Tier 1s cost 180. And you have all these Pokemon. I'm not going to go over all of them. Some of the newcomers, though. Terrakion and Superior got moved up from Tier 2. They proved to be really strong in the last season in what they could do, and we decided they were just too good for a Tier 2 and they need to be moved up to Tier 1 status. We also moved Landorus Incarnate down, but that is only the Sand Force ability. Sheer Force ability, Landorus Incarnate, is not permitted. So if you draft Landorus Incarnate, make sure you know you have to bring Sand Force. If you're caught bringing Sheer Force, that's cheating. And we'll get... I'm not sure exactly what we would do. We've never had an issue with anyone actually cheating, but it would not be good for you. So you have to bring Sand Force, because that's not super overpowered, but the stats are really good. We also added Zero Aura. I think I'm saying that right. So Zero Aura is this little electric guy down here. He is a brand new Pokemon that is getting released on the DS through an event, I believe. He's an electric type, pure electric type, pretty fast. We really debated him. Some people think he's going to be better at a tier 2. But I think it is safe starting him in a tier 1. He's got good stats. He's really fast. It's very similar to Coco, but just one type. And he's much more physical, though, than Coco is. But some people think he'll fall, and we'll see how he does this season. I'm hoping some people draft him so we can kind of see where we need to put him. Tier 2. This is tier 2. As we go through the tiers, you'll notice some of them get a little bigger. So, is there anything new here? New things to tier 2. I know we moved Goodra. Goodra got moved up to tier 2 from tier 3. We moved down Buzzwole. Buzzwole wasn't getting drafted, and because we moved Buzzwole down, Heracross, you'll see, is going to be in tier 3. We didn't want the two bug fightings in the same tier. That seems silly. Buzzwole is obviously a lot stronger than Heracross, so we went ahead and moved to that, and I think that's about it for tier 2. Not too much else changed. Oh, Mimikyu did get moved down from tier 1. That was a really good move. Mimikyu almost never gets drafted, and when it does, it hasn't proved very strong. So Mimikyu is down in tier 2. So tier 3 is a very large tier. This is our largest because, as I said before, you get 2 Pokemon from this. That's not including your free picks. You get 2, and then you can pick up more in your free picks even. So we have to make it big so everyone has options to pick things. So like I said, Heracross got moved to here. Empoleon, Tentacruel, and Swampert all got moved down. We were kind of shifting our bulky waters because they were pretty much all in tier 2, and that wasn't very good. Everyone had to spend their tier 2 points on bulky waters and not on much else, so I think it's really smart to move some down. Metagross also moved down, and Mineshaw moved down from tier 2. So a lot moved down from tier 2. I think that's about it. I'm not sure if anything really moved up from tier 4. I think there was 1 or 2. Emboar moved up from tier 4. I think that's it, though. So Emboar hasn't actually been drafted yet, but we have some people that are pretty prevalent in other drafts, and they know that Emboar is really strong, especially with the Reckless ability, and we agreed that he should be moved, definitely. So then tier 4, a little bit smaller than tier 3, not too much, though. These are still pretty decent Pokemon, and people have really utilized some of them really well. Some of the big shifts, Mesprit got moved up from tier 5, actually. Mesprit was really strong there, had a lot of options, so it got moved. A couple things moved down, but not much. Meloetta moved down, and then we also did move Politoed. So we had Ninetales already and Gigalith already in tier 4, so a lot of weather setters, so it seems smart to really move Politoed up and not let weather be too overpowered by putting weather setters in tier 5. Also Torkoal. Torkoal for drought is up in tier 4, which is really good. He's strong. Torkoal's really good. I think that's about it for tier 4. It didn't change too much, probably a little less than the others. I do not have a visual for tier 5. Tier 5 is literally everything else that's not banned. So a lot of little cut Pokemon can be taken in tier 5, but there's also a lot of full evolutions of things that you can take. For instance, I have Granbull and Jinx on my team. They are both tier 5s. Granbull I've actually used pretty well, so he worked out pretty well. Actually, another one that did move is Ninjask, and we will actually talk a little bit about Ninjask in a rule update coming up. But Megas, here's the Megas. I made sure to make them a separate thing. It splits them into their tiers for you. So the tier 1's up here at the top. All really strong. We moved Mega Swampert back up. He got moved down after Season 1. I drafted him, got those extra 40 points. People thought that was too good because I built a really good rain team. So Mega Swampert is back in tier 1. And I think that's the only tier shift from Season 2. Everything else is the same. The bottom tier, of course, as I talked about, you've got Mega Obama Snow, Mega Audino, and Mega Camerupt. They're still usable, I think. I think their stats promote them being able to be used. You just have to really work with them. But you do it, you're going to get some extra points, which is really nice. The tier 3s are pretty decent. Blastoise, we added last season. Nobody's still drafting him. I'm not sure if he's ever going to see much play, but I think some people were talking about Blastoise. I do think he's probably the strongest tier 3, but I think he does belong down there. And then we also have a banned list. Here's banned Pokemon. None of these are allowed at all. I did put some little notes down here at the bottom for everyone because there might be some confusion. We did unban regular Blaziken, but Speed Boost, right here, the Speed Boost is banned, not allowed. And then the same for Greninja. Protean got banned this season, not allowed, but you can use Torrent Greninja, and he is in Tier 3, I believe, for the season. And then Landorus I, as I already talked about, Sheer Force is still banned, not allowed. We also banned Mega Mawile this season, proved to be a little too strong in the draft, has been doing really well in the playoffs, so Mega Mawile is seeing a ban. Otherwise, this is all pretty straightforward. We did ban Magearna after Season 1. That was a really smart move. And from the start, we banned Tapu Lele. I know some people are kind of confused about that sometimes when it comes to like, oh, but it's okay in OU. It's, you know, used in Smogon a lot, but Tapu Lele is very strong in draft. Its ability, the psychic terrain is really good. Its stats are insane for what it can do. Lele is just really hard for teams to be able to prep and handle. Like, it has its counters in OU, but in draft, not everybody has those exact counters. So, it's banned. Along with all these other ones you see here, there's been some talk about a couple of them, but I don't see us unbanning. I think anything on this list, I think they're gone for good, and that's okay. But, really strong Pokemon. So that is our tier list. I just kind of wanted to go through that so everyone kind of saw exactly what our tiers are. You can look at this video to see those. I will have these visuals are all posted on the Discord, so you should be able to see them all. From here, a little more on draft. So now I will get into the actual draft. Now that you know the tiers, you can try to plan out a team. Here's how the draft works. So during the draft phase, you have 1 hour. We're changing that this season. First season we allowed, I think, 8 hours. That was a mess. Last season it was 2 or 3 hours, and it was not great. People got really antsy, and I felt bad at times because I think people got a little too impatient waiting for people. So we're just going to set a rule that you have an hour. You have 1 hour. There is one exception to that. So we stress this every year, and I know no matter how much I stress it, someone's not going to do it. But that's why we're going to have this 1 hour rule, because if you don't do it, then we will pass you, and we will not feel bad. You knew beforehand. If you leave multiple picks with a buddy from the opposite league, so if you're in the Origins League, which we have here, and the Generations League is the other league, if you have a, you pair up with someone who's in that Generations League, you tell them, you leave them a list of what picks you want if you're not going to be around during the draft time for a certain time frame. You leave them your picks, and you have to leave them multiple. If you just tell them, oh, I want Mega Venusaur next, and that's all you tell them, and Mega Venusaur gets sniped because it's good, that's not good enough for us. You can't just leave one because sniping happens a lot. Leave them multiple. Leave them at the very least 3 for the next pick. It's best if you leave them like almost an entire draft plan. We don't know how fast it's going to move. Try to make sure you get your stuff in. Because if you do not leave your picks with someone, or you only leave one pick, after the hour, you are skipped. And then when it comes back to you, you will just be automatically skipped until you return. When you return, you can make up all your picks. You can go back and pick whatever you need to pick that you missed. But, I mean, you've missed that many rounds. All those Pokemon are now gone that you probably wanted because you didn't follow our instructions. But if you leave a draft plan with somebody and they communicate with us that you did, and somehow, all of them get sniped. I mean, if you leave like 10 picks and somehow they all get sniped, we will give you a little bit of extra time. We're not exactly sure how much, probably an extra hour or two, just to give you the opportunity to make up what you missed. And if this is the case, when it gets back to you again, we'll probably wait again and not just automatically skip you, just because we really want to make sure that people do have that chance, especially if they're following the rules. But as I always say, you have to follow the rules. People get upset every season, we skip them, they get upset for whatever reason, but I'm laying it out right now. If you do not follow this rule, you're skipped. That's it. Try to make sure your buddy is somebody that you know is going to be around. Everyone should probably communicate with me or another mod like, hey, I have so-and-so's picks, so then if that person is gone, we'll know who had their picks. It's just all about communication. Make sure we know, because this season, if you're not here, if you don't leave picks and we don't know about it, hours up, we're skipping you. That's it. And we will not feel bad. That's just how it's going. So again, the draft begins August 10th. We've said it a lot. We've posted it in Discord and pinned it, but it is August 10th at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We are on Daylight Time here in the U.S. Some people don't understand Daylight Time. That's fine. The U.S. is a special child. But 8 a.m. EDT, look it up. Make sure you know exactly when that is during your time zone. For me here, I live in Colorado. We're on Mountain Time. That's going to be 6 a.m. So check in. It's also very important. We're going to be checking in August 8th through till the start of the draft. I will open a channel on Discord that is literally just going to be check-in. All you have to say is here. That's it. Just say here. You're done. And you will be checked in. When you say here for the check-in, that means you understand when the draft is. You understand these rules. You know exactly what you need to do, when you need to be here, and that you need to leave picks with someone if you're not going to be around for any part of the draft. If you do not check in between August 8th and August 10th at 8 a.m., we are already starting a list of backup coaches, people that want to join in this league. They will fill in your spot and you will be out. You have to check in. If you are not able to check in, if you are going to be gone and you already know that, then tell us. Leave us an entire fleshed out draft plan, and I mean really thorough, and we will draft for you. And if your things get sniped, we will do the best to draft what we think would work well for your team. We can work around that, but that will save you a spot if you're not going to be here between these times, because if you don't say anything and you do not check in, you lose your spot. That's it. And again, this is being laid out now. We won't feel bad. You've known, the information is there. So just want to make sure you know that we will skip. I think that's about it for the draft. These are some issues we've had in the past. We're trying to really streamline it and put these rules in because we don't want this league to turn out like others that fall apart because we don't follow our rules. We are going to follow our rules so that everyone has a good time with draft. Draft is super fun and everyone loves draft day, but you just got to follow these rules so that it goes smoothly. So for that, we have a new draft spreadsheet that we're using this season for drafting. I'm going to show you exactly how this draft spreadsheet works. So let me pull that up here. Here we go. This was created by No Shoes in our Discord. He also goes by Icy Shoes. He changed that because he drafted an Ice Team Season 2, but I think he still goes by No Shoes overall. And he made this. We are so thankful for that. It's going to really streamline things this season. So basically, this first list, you don't really need to pay attention to this because you'll want to use other lists, but this just kind of lays out the Pokemon in alphabetical order for us for other data that we have to use. So this has every single Pokemon and lists their tier next to it. As you can see, Mega Altaria is M1, Mega 1. And we did have to put it so that it's Altaria Mega, so that when you're searching for things, you want to search by Altaria if you're drafting that. Same for Alolans. Trying to find an example of an Alolan here. So let's just go to Ninetales, because that's what's popping into my head right now. So Ninetales. here we have Ninetales Alolan, and we had to put it in that way so that it's much easier to search for. So you're not going to type in Alolan Ninetales, it won't pull anything up. You have to type in Ninetales Alolan, and then Altaria Mega. Always put the Mega or the Alola at the end, and that is for this. This is where you're actually going to draft, and I am, hopefully this isn't a mistake, gonna leave this document once I have it finalized and make one for each of the drafts. It's gonna be open for people to be able to select their things so that the mods don't have to put everyone's stuff in themselves. Even though this will make it easier for us to have to do that, I will open it so that when you draft, you just come in here and say, I get the first pick, let's say. So I have my team name here. I will fill in these team names, by the way, for everyone so they know exactly which pick they have. So let's say I'm pick 1. I'm Denver, so DEN. It's got my team abbreviation there. And what am I going to pick first? I'm going to pick, let's do a Mega. Let's do Aerodactyl Mega. So you can either scroll through this list to find what you need. It has all the Pokemon on these lists here. Or I just type in Aerodactyl, and I can either pick Aerodactyl or Aerodactyl Mega. I pick Aerodactyl Mega, boom. It automatically puts in what tier it is, shows you how many points that gives you. So for me, it gives me plus 40. And the really nice thing about this is, because something we've had to do in the past is filling out this tier sheet to like mark things off so people can see what's taken. So when we come over here, I want to make sure you guys can see this. Yes, you can. So you can see where I'm selecting here. Aerodactyl Mega has DEN put next to it automatically. When I type something in, whoever the coach is for that, it will automatically put it in here. So you know that this Pokemon is taken, and it tells you exactly which coach it is. That's going to be super nifty. So literally all you have to do when you draft, when it is your turn, you come in here and you pick your Pokemon. So the next person is going to take Alakazam. I'm just picking it because it's like super close. And let's say it's CBC. So now I go to the tier list, to Alakazam, who's up here tier 2. Look at that, CBC has Alakazam. Boom, just nails it in there. So again, there is also, so the second tab here is the tier list. This is the list one. If you like reading better than pictures, then use this to plan out your team. But so I am taking a little bit of a risk, leaving this open for people to edit. If things go badly, we will remove that privilege and lock this and only let mods access it to change it, which will slow things down. But I think it'll be okay. Just don't draft until it's your turn. Until the person above you has been filled in, don't touch this. Just come in and pick it when you're done. And at the same time, after you pick your Pokemon here, on the Discord there will be a draft channel for both the leagues. I believe they're already there because we use them for trades as well. But you will just go to yours, say I'm in Origins, so I go to Origins Draft channel, and I just type in the Pokemon I'm drafting, say Mega Aerodactyl, and then I tag the next person. So if someone below me, say it's Brendan, I type in @Brendan and tag them so they know and they get a notification that they are next. That's how it's going to work. So then on this sheet, you are free to fill in as you make your picks. I can't figure out how to get this set up so it automatically puts things in for each coach, especially because like there's tier 1s and then there's freeze, and the freeze are really wonky, so I don't think a formula is going to work, so you're just going to have to type them in yourself. So after my pick, after I select it, I will just go to where I am, say I'm first one here, coach number 1. I'll fill in everyone's coaches' names, but I'll just type in Mega Aerodactyl. Boom, done. That's mine. And this tier sheet will be really nice and neat, and everyone can kind of see what you have on your team and kind of see what kind of team you're building. It'll be really nice. The mods can try to help if you're not able to access this at the time. We can try to type stuff in. I know that from the start of the draft, I will be online for sure, so hit me up if you need any help. I can help hit the buttons for you if you need, or fill this in if you need. If literally everybody needs me to fill it in for them, then that's not going to happen. I would really like the people that are around to try and just type their stuff in really quick. It doesn't take too much time. But this is the draft sheet we're going to use this season. Really, really excited, and I hope each season it just gets better and better and more fine-tuned and more like automatic. I love that we can type in all those equations that No Shoe made to make this so easy. Thank you so much to him. This is going to be like absolutely amazing. I'm excited for this new draft sheet. Probably a little more than some people, but I think the mods especially those that haven't had to do a draft yet, like it gets messy and it's just a lot of work for us. So this is going to streamline it and just make it so nice, basically. So last things for the draft here, just kind of going over a little more of the rules. So after the draft, teams are randomly sorted into 2 conferences with 4 players. I have a visual, so don't panic if you're like, I don't understand. A lot of people really didn't understand when we first came up with this. I believe this is how GBA does it though, so it shouldn't be too confusing for people familiar with them, but I will show you in a visual exactly what that means. So there's 2 leagues, and each league is split into 2 conferences. Those conferences have 8 players each because there's 16 in each league, and then those conferences are further split into 2 divisions, and those divisions have 4 players each. And we do that to help make the playoff seeding a lot easier overall. So each week you're going to prepare a team of 6 with the Pokemon you drafted. You're drafting 11 Pokemon and a Z Crystal, so you have lots of options. You can mix up your team as much as you need, but you can only use those 11 Pokemon. That's super important. You cannot use Pokemon you didn't draft. That's the whole point of this. You get to see what your opponent's 11 are and plan your team around them. Make sure you have the coverage for everything that you need. All the battles, as of right now, are on Pokemon Showdown. Everyone should be familiar with that. If you're not, let us know. Replays must be saved and submitted to the correct channel. We did have one battle this season, and that was one of my battles, actually, where both of us were unable to save the replay. We weren't sure why, but we could still kind of download it, so you can do that if there's an error that happens, but please make sure that you save the replay before you exit. Wins and losses are recorded on the sheet along with individual Pokemon kills. So I will show you the sheet coming up here in a little bit to show you exactly what you just need to kind of put in. The draft sheet is something that's really fun and a lot of people really enjoy, and I like it. You get to personalize it, and I'll go over that and show you all that stuff. So you just record all your stuff until the playoffs. So what happens is, within those divisions, the top player in each division moves on to the playoffs. So that's 2 players from each division. Or, sorry, 2 players from each conference. So then we need the next top 2 from the total conference move on after that. So, again, that can be a little confusing. I will show you with the visual. I think that will help a lot of people. So basically the playoffs is 8 players, squaring off in 8 players per league, by the way. 8 players per league. So half of the players make it to the playoffs, and then it is a single elimination bracket, moves all the way till a champion's crown. So it goes pretty quick. It's just a couple weeks for the playoffs, but just really rewards the players that have done really well, built a really good team, and battled really well. So I will show this. Oh, we do have this next. A new regular season schedule. So I wanted to talk about this really quick. We changed things a little with the schedule. So this season we tried where you battled your division twice. People were there were conflicting things. Some people loved it, about half honestly, and then some people really didn't like it and wanted to have more variety in their battles. So we put it to a vote because it was so divided, and honestly it was one of the closest votes. I literally think it came down to the last vote on this one to really decide it. So what we went with was not battling your division twice. You do not battle anyone twice except if you get to the playoffs, and you're probably going to battle that person that you've already battled. It's 11 total battles though because of that. The only way I was able to really work it out so that it wasn't just a 7, because it was either going to be 7 or 11. 7 weeks seemed really short. We didn't like that, so 11 is what it's going to be. You're going to battle your entire conference once, which was already happening, but instead of battling the rest of your division once, or the second time, you're going to battle an opposite conference division. I will show that in just a second. Here's the visual that I have. So, for my example, we're going to start with Origins League, okay? So, say I am in the Kanto League and the Red Division. That's where I was this season. So, I'm in this Red Division here. There are 4 people in that division. I fight all 3 of those other people because I'm in the 4th. I fight all 3 of those people. There's 3 of my battles. I fight the Red Division. And then the Blue Division is in the same conference. They're in Kanto. So I fight all of Blue. That's 4, so 7 total battles. And because that would be too short of a season, how we're going to set it up is that red division is also going to fight silver division. So blue division would fight gold division. And it'll be exactly the same for generations that way. But red will not fight gold and blue will not fight silver. That would just be way too long. All of us agree that that's just way too many battles. So there is one division that you will not get to battle, but that's in the opposite conference, which is Johto. So hopefully that makes sense as far as the battling. Now for playoffs, the way we have it set up, so the best player in red, the best player in blue, the best player in silver, and the best in gold move on to the playoffs. That's 4. So then with that, the next 2 best people between red and blue. So that means if the next 2 best people are both in blue, let's say red just didn't have that many, like one person was really good and everyone else just kept losing, but blue was pretty good and had like pretty even people, then 2 from blue would move on. Instead of it being 2 from red and 2 from blue, it would be 3 from blue, 1 from red. So that's how it works. So you want to fight for your top spot in your division to really secure it, because after that, it just falls to the next 2 best people out of the 8 players in that Kanto conference. And it's going to be the same for each of these. So Ruby and Sapphire and Diamond and Pearl, one person moves on, whoever's the top, and then like between Sapphire and Ruby, the next 2 best, and between Pearl and Diamond, the next 2 best, move on to the playoffs and duke it out there, single elimination. So hopefully this visual helps it make sense. We are keeping these same divisions. This is what we had for season 2. We're going to keep this the same. It's just the battling's different. So like if you're in generations, Rubies will fight all of Ruby, all of Sapphire, and all of Diamond. And then Sapphires fight all of Sapphire, all of Ruby, and all of Pearl. Just like that. So it's 11 matches this season instead of 10, which we had last season. Hopefully that made sense. So what I wanted to do next, really quick, is show off our spreadsheet, because I know that the spreadsheet's a little daunting and confusing at times. We're going to show the generations one from this season. This is our spreadsheet. It's going to stay pretty much the same. I think I'm going to implement it so it kind of updates the Pokemon, not the Pokemon standing, but the team standings on its own. I think I'm going to be able to do that. So basically, first page is just a welcome page, has a table of contents. We do have our rules document posted in there. That's also posted on the Discord. So basically, we have our team standings here. This was from this season, so everyone's records are posted here. The coach name, the team name, and then the differential. So you can follow here who's number 1. So like S-Life got number 1 in Ruby, and Hassam got number 1 in the Sapphire, so they moved on to playoffs, stuff like that. We're going to have a playoff picture down here that kind of shows you who was in the hunt to try to get into playoffs, that still had a chance, who was knocked out of the playoffs. And the people that were guaranteed, we put a little green next to if they were guaranteed a spot in there. And as you can see, there were 4 players from each conference. The top of Ruby, the top of Sapphire, and then the 2 next best ones. Top of Diamond, top of Pearl, next 2 best ones. We also list here the top Pokemon during the seasons, whoever gets the most kills. So that's also really fun just to see what Pokemon are doing so good. This season looks like Mega Manectric and Jolteon just killed it. Really fast electric types are always strong. Conkeldurr did good. Tracheon, you know, stuff like that. Really good stuff. So that's that. The schedule, we will redo the schedule again for this season. I will plan it all out so that nobody's messed up, hopefully. But we put a green for a win, a red for a loss, so you can kind of track wins and losses that way too. And with this, you can see who you're battling each week. So some people forgot to fill this in, but like Cossack was supposed to fight Hyrule HYR, and you can look over here and see who's the HYR, and that is Hyrule Jolts, and that's Aquavitae. So he was fighting Aquavitae in the last round. Pretty simple there. We will copy over the draft sheet from this sheet from the draft sheet that we made. Pretty simple. We also will have a list of the tiers, and we will have that updated with who's taken what. So this is kind of what it looks like in the end after draft. You can see just how much it gets filled in and all the stuff that gets taken. And then from that, we basically open it up to you guys. So everybody, every single person has their own sheet that they can edit for their team. And we need everyone to have a team so they can track their Pokemon's kills and track their win-loss record. And this is just also a way to like bring some creativity into this. So one of the ones I want to show off, I hope he's okay with it, is Lovecraft Sheet. Lovecraft Sheet was my favorite. Some people didn't like it. But this just kind of shows you exactly what you can do with your sheet and how you can really edit it and make it your own. So first off, we did make logos for everybody. So everyone's logo is going to be required on their sheet so that we can see which team it is very easily with the picture. And it's also just really nice to have a nice picture. So this is the Miskatonic Tentacruels, Lovecraft's team. And then this box here is also required. We'll have the team name, the coach name, your win-loss ratio, which you will have to fill in, and then it has your overall differential, which is added on its own. And then on these lists here, you will fill in your Pokemon. You can fill in your dropped Pokemon down here. Anything that you dropped during the season and pick up something new, you'll fill in here. So you'll want to list all your Pokemon, and then each week, so here's week 1. What Pokemon did you bring? What Pokemon got killed? So the Salamence, killed 1, died once. Rotom Wash, got no kills, died once. Crobat, no kills, died once. Stuff like that. You have to fill that in just every week. Just fill in from your battle. And so we scroll all the way over to the end here. After week 10, for us it's going to be week 11. This overall differential, I have all the formulas already plugged in. You don't need to mess with anything. Don't touch these. Just fill in this, and these should automatically update the Pokemon's differentials. And this is what we use to decide what Pokemon have been doing the best during the season. And then with that, they will also all be added and summed up for your overall differential here. So don't mess with those. Obviously, you can like change the color in the text. Don't touch the formulas. Super important. Don't touch my formulas. But outside of that, as you can see, edit it to your heart's desire. Do the colors you want. Fonts. You can see all the different colors that Lovecraft used. And then down here, a lot of people like to list out their teams and their stats and stuff. I do that on mine. I think it's really neat and helpful for players that are looking at my team. They can look over this and really help them plan for draft and stuff. And you can also put in all your nicknames, which is really nice, like Cthulhu. That's really great. All this stuff. Some people also put in like a team picture. This is a really nice one. I just like all the different pieces of it and how they're all a little bit Lovecraftian. That's really just great. And then you can put some other things. Keep it PG, but this is your sheet. As long as you have this information, all the kills, your overall differential, your Pokemon differential, and your logo, edit it to your heart's desire. Make this your own. This is your space for the whole season to just design exactly how you want. I think that's really important. People have always loved it, like really loved it, and I think that's great. And I hope that we just want to keep that going and let people be as creative as they can. So back to here, there were a couple changes, but I'm just going to go over all our rules basically. So trades and free agency. Trades are allowed. This time we're allowing trades within your entire league. So all of Origins can trade with anyone in Origins. But please remember, you can't break your free points. If you're trading a tier 1 to someone, you probably are trading them for another tier 1. You can't break your free points. You can't go over your free points with trades. You can't trade someone a tier 1 and get their tier 2. That's probably going to break your points. You have to make sure you're working around that. And that includes trading megas. You have to make sure that, like, yeah, you can trade a mega and, like, that can add you some points. But you just have to be really careful with that. If you're trading those, especially, I mean, I think the big problem is if you start with a tier 2 mega and you try to trade someone for a tier 1 mega, that's probably not going to work because it's going to break your points. Unless you have free points left over, it's totally fine. Just make sure you're keeping track of those points, please. We will be monitoring as much as we can to make sure nobody is breaking those points because that is breaking the rules. The other thing that we have here is free agency. It works differently in every league, but for us, free agency is very similar to trading, but you're just trading with the draft sheet. Anything that hasn't been drafted is fair game. So you can drop any Pokemon to pick up any other Pokemon. I can drop, let's say, Celesteela and pick up a different tier 1. Let's say I want to pick up Excadrill. So I drop Celesteela, pick up Excadrill. I don't know why I do that. Let's just say I really needed to. So I did. That's fine. As long as nobody else has Excadrill, totally fine. But there are some rules with that. You are any Pokemon that you drop, you cannot pick up again. So once I drop Celesteela, I can't have her back. It's done. No more for me. And just like trading, your free agency cannot break your 400 points. You can't drop a tier 1, or you can't drop a tier 3 and try to pick up a tier 1 if you don't have the free points to do it. You just can't. And we are allowing free agency for Megas this season. We haven't in the past, mostly because we worry that people aren't going to pay attention to their free points. But we're allowing it this season. We're going to see how it goes. Just be careful. If you picked up a tier 2 Mega and you try to trade it for a tier 1, make sure you have those extra 40 points somewhere. You know? That's just really... because if you drop it, you're losing those 40 extra points, and if you don't have it, then you can't do that. So just really make sure you're paying attention to your Megas. We will be monitoring, but we don't want anyone breaking the rules. Everyone is allowed 5 free agencies during the season. That's all you get. Some people use them all at the beginning and then regret it. Some people are okay with that, fixing up their team a little bit. Some people use it throughout. Some people, like me, just used one, maybe. I think some people didn't use any, and that's okay. If you got the perfect draft, fine. Don't trade anything. I used one, but that's totally fair. And you can use free agency for like Z crystals too. That's totally fair. We also do not allow free agency during the very last week. As soon as that last week of regular season starts, free agency is done for the rest of the season, because we don't allow it in the playoffs either. Playoff teams are sealed in. You cannot trade anything. And I think with the trading, something I didn't go over with the trading, is that you cannot trade if you are officially ruled out of the playoffs. We had this problem the first season, so this is just kind of our way, which is why we have our playoff seeds now, and where we kind of keep track of, okay, who's already not able to make it. If you cannot make it, you will be in that red box. You can't trade with other players. We had people that weren't making it to the playoffs trade their entire good stuff to another player that was going to make the playoffs and really beefed up their team, and that's not okay. That's just, it doesn't seem fair to us. It's not fair to everyone else to try to buff up someone's team like that. So as soon as you are ruled out of the playoffs, no more trading. It's done. It's pretty simple, but we're just not allowing that. So pay attention to your points. If you're out of the playoffs, don't trade. And you only get 5. Don't use more than 5 free agency picks. We do have a new format change, slightly. This was a very last minute decision, which made us have to reshuffle leagues and tiers, but I think it is actually going to work out really well, and I think it's going to make this league a lot more competitive, which is what we want. So Origins is now considered the Masters League. We chose the top 16 players. We chose everybody from Season 1 and Season 2 that made it to the second round of playoffs, which ended up being, I think, 11 people, or 12. No, 10. I think it was 10, because I think we had to pick 6. So we picked 6 other players that had made playoffs before, had really good records, shown really considerable battle skills. We moved them up as well, just as kind of the starting point. This is our starting point. These are the top 16. Everybody else that has played, and all new people, any new people coming in, get placed in Generations to start. So at the end of every season now, the top 4 players from Generations, the not Masters League, get to move up to the Origins League in the next season. And then the bottom 4 records from Origins, whoever does the worst in the Origins, will move back to the Generations. So we kind of have a little bit of a shuffle. And this way we kind of keep Origins as a really competitive base. And at the same time, Generations, if you're in that Generations, if you're new, you have something to really strive for. You have like this drive to do really well so you can play in the Origins League and really prove your worth there. I think that's really the main goal, just to make it a lot more competitive and I think a greater atmosphere, and it also just gives us a really nice format to be able to follow. We're really going for structure this season. I think that's really good and really going to help us just keep this league going and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, just keep our base growing, and it's going to be great. So really looking forward to this new format. I hope everyone else is too. I think it's going to be really fun. So, some more rules. Just want to go over the basic rules. Baton pass we did change this season. You can only pass speed if you're passing it without any other stats. So this is why I mentioned Ninjask before moving up to tier 4. Ninjask with speed boost can now pass that speed, but you can't pass other stats. So stuff like Scolipede can't be abused with Sword Stance and speed boost. Doesn't work. There are no other restrictions though, so we are now allowing you to pass multiple stats as long as speed is not part of them. You can pass Calm Mind, you can pass Cosmic Power, stuff like that is all fair game. Bulk Up, it's fair game. You can pass those, which is really going to be interesting. It's going to make some of the Baton Pass Pokemon more viable, which I'm excited for, such as Ninjask and Yanmega. I'm excited to see some people take Yanmega. I mean, even just passing with Scolipede with the speed is going to be really fun, so I think Scolipede's going to move up a lot in usage, which is great. So some of the rules, none of these have changed, they're all the same. There are no Omniboost Z moves allowed. Anything that boosts more than one stat as a Z move, not allowed. Nope, no Z conversion, sorry, Porygon Z, not allowed. No lowering accuracy or increasing evasion, that's pretty straightforward. That's just about every single league I've ever seen, every competitive format. Double Team is broken. It's OP, it's not allowed. No one-hit KO moves, no Blizzard, or not Blizzard, Sheer Cold, no Fissure, Horn Drill, stuff like that, not allowed. No Shadow Tag, that ability is banned, which is why Gothitelle and Wobbuffet are in Tier 5. You're not allowed to use Shadow Tag, sorry. Arena Trap is also banned. That one's been a little more controversial, but we did vote to ban it 2 seasons ago. And that's going to stay. So Doug Trio is also Tier 5 because it can't use Arena Trap. Power Construct, that's pretty obvious. You saw our banned list, and Zygarde Complete Form is banned, so no Power Construct. And then Moody's banned pretty much every competitive format. It's stupid broken. Sorry, no Moody. Swagger is also banned. It's just too powerful. Only one Pokemon can be asleep at a time per team. That's pretty straightforward. So if you're running Spore Prelume, something like that, you can only put one of your opponent's Pokemon to sleep at a time. If they already have a Pokemon using Rest, then that's it. You can't Spore anything else if they switch it out. Sleep is just too strong. That keeps Sleep in check. Teams cannot have more than 2 of the same held items. So your team of 6 that you bring every week, you can have 2 Pokemon with leftovers. You can't have a third with leftovers. Not allowed. You can't just run an entire team with leftovers. I'm sorry. That's just not going to work. Makes it a little better to try and diversify your teams more and just to not allow multiple items or to allow the same item like that. But you can bring 2. I hope the wording's okay. You can bring 2. You can have 2 Pokemon with leftovers. That's totally fine. But you can't have 3. Teams can't have 2 Pokemon with the same Pokedex number. We have not had an issue with this, but just like as an example, if you, for some reason, draft Rotom Heat and Rotom Wash, you are allowed to draft both of those. That's totally fine. I don't care. You can't bring both to the battle, though, which is why I don't think anybody ever does draft both of those. I don't understand why you would. But you can't bring both of them. It'd be the same for, like, Hoopa and Hoopa U, which Hoopa U is on here. You can't bring both. They have the same Pokedex number. Not allowed. Hoopa U is just a different form. Sorry, not allowed. So that's just a pretty straightforward rule. Hopefully that makes perfect sense. I already showed this league spreadsheet, actually. I didn't realize I waited till here. So that is it from me for this. Draft, again, August 10th. I'm really excited for the draft this season. I think it's going to be great. I am going to actually be live streaming maybe, hopefully, the entire draft. We'll see. I have that Friday, that Saturday off. I will be here at 6 a.m. my time. It's 8 a.m. Eastern. And I will stream the draft with you guys. You can always pop in and just enjoy my commentary, and any other content creator is allowed to pop in during my stream. We can chat about who's drafted what, who's doing well, who got sniped, all those fun things. And at the same time, I'm going to find some fun games to play. Hopefully some multiplayer games so people can join me. We'll play some games, we'll do some drafts, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a really, really fun weekend. Depending on if the draft only takes 1 day, then yeah, I'll stream the whole thing. If it goes into Saturday, we'll have to see how I'm feeling. But I am planning on doing a really big, long draft so we can all kind of just sit back, enjoy the draft, and really just enjoy being in this league. I think it's super fun, and we're all just going to have a really good time. So I'm super excited for that. I hope you guys are too. And I think that is it. This should be like literally all the information that you need for draft. Anything else, go look at the rules sheet if you need to. Talk to a mod. All the mods know and understand the draft format. So just hit us up on the Discord or whatever you need. So that should be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you later.